All righty. All right, the time is 7:05. I'd like to call to order the December 3rd, 2020 committee meeting for rules and procedures. First, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes of September 17, 2020.
I'll make the motion to approve them.
Okay, and I will second. Frank, any discussion?
No discussion, sir.
All right, none on my end. Roll call vote, Frank?
Yes.
And I will say yes. That is 2-0. All right, legislation referred resolution R FY 21-004 early voting location resolution. We have our town clerk on the line. Mrs. Hunt, I would ask if you have any input on it before we go into discussion. That's totally up to you.
Sure, happy to weigh in, and thank you for picking this up. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. Yes, I guess I would just really like to support this. It's something that would be my desire to keep early voting at the Academy building. It would be quite complicated for us to try to do it off-site and run ballots back and forth all day long, transporting them regardless of weather and safety. It just doesn't seem to make good sense to me that we would do it anyplace else when we have a location that's really set up well and is efficient for our office. We can't, we'd have to bring things back to our office all the time because we have to enter things into the state computer, which is not something that's portable. We can't take it with us on a laptop to the senior center or to some other location like that. So we have to bring the ballots back all the time, and we have volunteers working down in our office as well as volunteers working upstairs for the whole process. And I believe it's going to become more and more the wave of the future. I think citizens love it. I love it because it brings out more people to vote, which is always the best thing that you can do in a democracy. So I would like to keep supporting early voting, and I would particularly like to keep it at the Academy building. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but that's my basic statement.
Okay, Mr. Souza, any questions?
Not from Merrily, but I have some comments on it, if I
Okay.
may.
Frank was one of our great workers.
Yes. Just out of curiosity, Merle, from the last go around with the volumes, this is a question just more than anything else.
Sure.
Were there any continuous themes of something that needs to be addressed prior to the next early voting from a building perspective, I should say?
No, I don't think so. Of course, the 2 times that we've done it this year were both pandemic times. So we were probably making it a little more awkward than it ever was before. And hopefully then it will be again, because we had to have the circulation pattern, people coming in one door and going out the other and not just accessing us as they wished. But I thought it worked very smoothly. We got tons of compliments from people. We didn't have anybody. We had one person because there wasn't handicap access at the rear door. So even though he could get in up the sloping sidewalk to the front and come in the front door all right and take the elevator fine and take it back down, when he came back down the elevator, going out the back door to the back handicap ramp into the Bedford Street parking lot, it isn't handicap accessible. And he couldn't get the first door open, the inside door open, and he couldn't get the outside door open. He happens to be a person in a wheelchair, and he works in disability services. So he did happen to have his elderly mother with him, and she was able to get the door open. But as you know, that inside door is really heavy. So I think the council has actually even ordered for handicap access to that door. But that's the only complaint that I heard. We didn't have long lines. We moved people right along pretty fast. The council room is great place for them to vote. We were able to stay plenty socially distanced. So yeah, I can't think of really maybe I'm limited in my thinking. I can't think of any way to do it better. I think it was good.
Yeah, it's ironic that you bring that up. I believe I heard from that gentleman a couple of weeks ago with that concern and reached out to the town manager. That is slated, supposed to be earlier this year, but it's going to be slated for January/February of 2021. Just because things got pushed for COVID. So, okay, no, that's great.
I was on the building committee for the Academy building, and
Yep.
that was slated to be a fully handicapped accessible entrance when the building left the building committee, but then the building committee was disbanded before the building was built. So, but originally that was supposed to be the fully
Okay.
handicapped accessible.
Great. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Souza, any general comments?
Can I have one question for Marilee?
Sure.
'Cause I helped her out a couple of days down there, okay? And someone mentioned something about one evening, a committee or board had a meeting there and had to move all their stuff out of the way, and it all had to be reset again in the morning. Is that fact?
That wasn't true this year. That
Okay,
is true in years past. In years past, we had to do a great deal of moving around out of the council room because a conference had been scheduled in the conference room at the same time that we were doing early voting, and council meetings were taking place in person, zoning board meetings, planning board meetings. None of those were able to move to the larger conference room. So we would have to do our voting out in the hallway and have people going down and voting in the conference rooms in the 201, which was really pretty awkward and actually quite a lot of work to do all that at the end of one day to move everything out and set it up in the hallway and then move it back. But that certainly didn't happen this time. And it'd be my hope that as we have all gotten used to using Zoom and everything, that accommodation could possibly be made for the 2 weeks or so of early voting when it happens.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting in general, not for this discussion in regards to once things, I'll say, get back to quote unquote normal, what will be the expectation of meetings and boards? I think it's going to probably blend to the combination of both virtual and in person. So, but we'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah.
And you know what, in all honesty, I hope to get to that bridge fairly quickly for a multitude of reasons.
Right.
Right. Mr. Souza, anything else?
no, that was it.
Okay. Entertain a motion to recommend.
So moved?
Seconded. Any discussion?
No?
Okay. Requires a roll call vote. Mr. Souza?
Yes?
I say yes, 2-0. All right. Thank you, Mrs. Hunt. And I can see Dr. Hunt on as well. If you guys want to stay on, that's great. Next on the agenda. Yep. Next on the agenda, town manager goals. So we don't have anything in front of us, Frank. I will say I've sent out a communication at not the last council meeting, but maybe the council meeting before, I asked for input on the town manager's goals. Still not exactly sure why it's in rules and procedures. I'm probably going to bring that up at our next council meeting. Personally, I think this should be in strategic planning since future goals are part of strategic planning. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I'd love to hear them.
Well, I was at a meeting earlier today. And the talk about the managers, it was on the review committee, by the way, that's what it was. And the talk about the goals, I had the impression that it was being done by the strategic planning committee. Okay, so so we just have to check and see if in fact it is, because that's the kind of impression I've got from the conversation there at that meeting. Very brief. We talked about the goals and things, but who was doing it was a very brief discussion.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna need some clarification on that. And that may be the reason why I didn't get anything. Maybe they're sending it to strategic planning, which is fine. I just asked for it because I knew it was gonna come up on our agenda.
Yeah.
Well, reach out from there and see where that stands. Okay.
Well, I was told that at that meeting that it looks like in January, they should have the plan for the year, for this year. Okay, it was, that's why I'm saying, because some of the people on that committee were on the other committee as well, I believe. So
Okay.
they know. And so that was the impression that after the first of the year, sometime in January or so, we should be seeing a goal for the town manager.
Yeah, and I'd probably expect that to come back to us just from a procedural perspective on how and when the goals are, both the review of 2020 and the delivery of goals for 2021. So, okay.
Yeah, and the ongoing evaluation of the goals rather than waiting for an annual, semi-annual or a quarterly type of thing was a thought that was being thrown around too.
Interesting. Okay. All righty. Any additional things on that?
No,
Okay. Public comment? Anyone from the public? Excuse me, any comments? We'll open up the floor. All right.
well, they're both.
Don't see any public comment. So, all right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded, roll call vote. Mr. Souza?
Yes.
I say yes. We are done at 7:17. All right, Frank, have a good night.
You too.
All right,
Thanks.
take care.
I will. You too. And stay out of jail.
I'll try.